Welcome students, let us continue the law of production. Under this law of production, uh, there is a new chapter that is known as the law of returns to scale. So let us go through the concept of this law of returns to scale. Law of returns to scale operates in the long period. It explains the production behavior of the firm will or with firm with all variable factors. So here three things which we are covering, that is, it is related with a long period, it explains the production behavior, and third thing, it takes all variable factors. Well, in the long run, all factors of production are variable. Okay, we treat all the factors as variable. No factor is fixed. Accordingly, the scale of production can be changed by changing the quantity of all factors of production. We can make changes. Okay, we keep them flexible. Let us take an example. If a firm increases inputs by 100%, but the output decreased by less than 100%. What we are doing? We are increasing our inputs. Okay, we are just giving it 100%, but the output is decreased by less than 100%. The firm is said to be exhibit decreasing return to scale. Definitely it will show the decreasing rate of scale because of the decreasing output, or you can say the production level. A given output can be produced with many different combinations of factors of production. Well students, here whenever the result of output comes through the combination that is known in economics as the factors of production, where we take the land, labor and organization or inputs to get the final outputs. What is the difference between law of returns to a factor and law of returns to scale? Earlier we discussed about the law of returns to a factor, and today we are studying the law of returns to scale. Now, what are the major differences between both theories? Let us take one by one. Law of return keeps adding labor. Okay, here adding, and that is also the labor, the manpower, or any particular factor of production, not only labor, but it keeps adding other factors also to the production setup while keeping all other factors constant. Okay, what they are doing, they are adding the inputs, the factors of production, and keeping all other factors constant. That means they are not making changes in other factors. Then diminishing returns will set in, while law of return to scale refers to the rate by which output changes. Okay, here it is dealing with the input. He is making changes in inputs, while when we talk about the law of return to scale, it is basically controlling the output level. Okay, it refers the changes which is happening in the final production. Well, if all inputs are changed by the same factor, okay, such economies of scale may occur because greater efficiency is obtained as the firm moves from small to large scale operations. Well students, this law is related with the output. Okay, so that changes is also showing the efficiency, and this efficiency starts from the small to the large scale operation. That's why I said that this law is related in the long run, and that is related with all factors of production where we are taking as variable, not the fixed one. Okay, now let us continue with this return to scale while explaining it. Production function. If we elaborate the production function, the production function takes the factor related with labor and capital. F production equals to F labor and C stands for capital. If both factors of production labor and capital are increased in same proportion. Okay, what we are doing, we are adding labor and capital, and that also in same proportion. That means x production function will be written x. Now this formula will convert it into P1 equals to F x L x C. Okay, L for land and C for capital. Here what we are doing, we are increasing both factors. Another way is if production 1 increases in the same proportion as in the increment, okay, as it is increasing the factor of production, now this formula will take place. That will be P1, okay, that is which we increased earlier, upon P upon the production function equals to X. It will be constant return of scale. Now the return of scale becomes constant. Okay. Third, if P1 increases less than the proportion, okay, so here if it is less, then this formula will come. Okay, here this production 1 upon P is less than the X. It will be diminishing return of scale. Again students, the proportion is increasing but the return is diminishing. If P1 increases more, okay, here it is increasing more, so it will be P1 upon P more than X. It will be increasing return of scale. Definitely it will show the adding, okay, it will show the positive return to scale while it was showing the negative one, and here there were no changes, so it was the constant return of scale. We were talking about the return to scale that are related with production function. Okay, what are the changes? What happens when we change them in the same proportion? Next, now let us take the different increasing return, the different laws related to return to scale. The first one is known as the increasing return to scale. Okay, return to scale, and the first theory is known as increasing return to scale. If all inputs are doubled, output will also increase. Okay, at the factor rate then double. Here inputs are double, which is showing the faster rate, and that is also in the double. Reason. Now what are the reasons? Division of labor. Earlier also we discussed about this point. When we are dividing the responsibility, the duties, the work among the workers, okay, it always shows the positive result. Specialization. If we are allotting the duties and the work according the skills, abilities, qualifications and other specialties of the workers, it is always result in specialization. Or external economies of scale. Okay, so these are the three reasons that shows the increasing return of scale, that is also explained through this diagram. Okay, external economies of scale, where the external factors are involved. Okay, now causes. What are the causes of increasing return to scale? Technical managerial indivisibilities. Okay, what we have done, we have given them technical support and managerial support, and this always give the increasing return to scale. High degree of specialization, again the specialization in every form, again it will show the positive result. And diminishing relations. Diminishing relations are also the reason for the increasing return to scale, which is denoted by y equals to axb, where b is always greater than 1. Now the another return of scale is known as the constant return to scale. Here students, if all inputs are doubled, output will also double. Okay, earlier in the increasing return of scale we also talked about this. If all inputs are doubled, output will also double. Here also it is repeating that, but Here it is repeating that the reasons behind the constant return to scale is economies of scale is balanced by diseconomies of scale. Here you can see this is the constant return to scale which is showing the changes, but the changes, the output is showing the double way. That means it is going to the positive way. It is going from top. It is going from bottom to top. That means again it is showing the additional form. That is called the constant return to scale. Causes of constant returns to scale. There are several reasons behind this scale. First is indivisibility of fixed factors. When the factors of productions are perfectly divisible, if we are dividing those factors and that are also fixed, the production function is homogeneous. That means it always provides the same qualities of degree 1, showing constant returns to scale. That means the result will be constant, okay, and the degree 1 will be the homogeneous feature. Third return to scale is called the diminishing return to scale. If all inputs are doubled, output will be less than doubled. Here what we are doing, inputs are doubled but the output will less than double. It is called the diminishing return to scale. See, this is the diagram. It is showing the diminishing return to scale. And the formula is y equals to axb. What are the reasons behind this? Internal diseconomies and external diseconomies. The causes are basically size of the firms expands. If we expand our business, okay, so it results to the diminishing return. If we are showing the managerial efficiency decreases, so definitely if management is working poor, so the return also diminishes. If the resources are limited in any organization, so it may be the reason of diminishing return to scale. So there are basically two causes. Size of the firms expand, students. When the businesses expand, when the sizes of the organization increases and the managerial efficiency decreases, it may be the causes of diminishing return to scale. And if the resources are limited in any organization, that also make the causes of the diminishing return to scale. Now, diseconomies of scale of production. There are certain diseconomies of scale of production where we have taken two parts, internal and external. Internal, what are the causes related with internal factors? Internal is indoor reasons. As I say, inefficient management. If the management is poor, the working conditions, their policies, their programs are not up to mark, they will always result to inefficiency. If there are technical difficulties, that also decrease the production. It will also decreases the efficiency of workers. That will definitely results the negative output. If the production is diseconomies, if the marketing is diseconomies, or there are financial diseconomies which are purely internal, then might be they be the reason of diminishing return to scale, and that are the internal, the indoor factors, okay, which we can control in limits also. When we talk about the external economies means the outdoor activities, the factors which are related to the external environment. Then first is diseconomies of pollution. If there are certain reasons behind pollution, so there's also create the external diseconomies. If there is a strain on infrastructure, or you can say there are high factor prices, so these all create the external economies, okay, that are tough to control, but we have to make certain changes to reach the positive way. Now, assumptions, students. The basic assumptions related with this theory is all the factors of production are variable, such as land, capital, labor. Okay, first of all, these are the certain assumptions. If we take the factors of production, so we treat them as variable. Second, technology remains constant. Okay, here this is an interesting feature, that the technology remains constant in this law. Another assumption is outputs are measured in physical terms. Okay, we can measure the production in physical terms. And last is the market is perfectly competitive. If the competitors are present in the market and the competition is also perfect, then you can say this law is the perfect one. Okay, so these are the certain assumptions related with this theory. Well students, before the winding up, if I just sum up this law through an example, as I say, an output may change by a large proportion or same proportion or small proportion. If we make changes in our output in three ways, if we are making changes by a large proportion, same proportion or small proportion. With respect to change in input also, okay, we have to make changes in our input, then it will show the certain changes in our output. If we are increasing our labor and capital, so it leads generally to improved organization. Okay, if we increases our labor, our capital, our technology, which will increase the efficiency of the work of labor as well as the capital. So basically, this theory is related with long run factors, the fixed factors, and the scale of production can be changed by changing the quantity of all factors of production. That's all. Thank you.